Right now, robots do the dirty work. They go into radioactive areas like in Fukushima, which is highly radioactive. They do dangerous work with explosives. They do dangerous work, tedious work in construction sites. So right now, robots do the dirty work, things that are tedious, things that are too dangerous for the average person. That's because these robots are not self-aware. They don't think. They don't plan. They don't have any understanding of who they are. They simply carry out a very well-defined task. The singularity is the point at which robots become sentient. They become as smart as us. But not only that, they can have children. They can have the next generation smarter than the previous generation. And then the third generation is smarter than the second generation, is smarter than the first generation, and it simply ramps itself up until we have a singularity of intelligence. Well, personally, I think there's no law of physics to prevent such a thing. I think we're many, many decades away from creating a machine that is intelligent as a human. But at some point, it may be possible to create robots that can create second-generation robots smarter than the original. Checking. And then there's nothing to prevent this runaway effect. Now, what are we going to do? Are we going to be relegated to a zoo, and our robots are going to throw peanuts at us and make us dance behind bars? I don't think so. One possibility is to, in the far future, merge with our creations. I mean, what's wrong with waking up one day and finding yourself with a perfect body? You're beautiful, you're strong, and also, hey, you're also immortal. Flying cars are the staple of science fiction, and believe it or not, we already have them. The problem is they're really expensive. So the challenge of engineering is to bring down the cost of these hover cars. Hover cars come in three types. The first is a car that has wings. The wings fold up, and you ride like an ordinary car. And when you want to take off, you get on a runway, unfold the wings, and there you go. The second flying car has two gigantic fans underneath. And so just like a helicopter, it takes off vertically because of the power of two fans underneath the chassis. The third type of hover car is the maglev car. That is magnetic levitation. Riding on a cushion of magnetism, it floats in the air.
Travel time to the United Federation of Britain, 17 minutes. Dropping in 60 seconds.
Believe it or not, if you could drill a straight hole right into the Earth connecting point A and point B, the amount of time it takes to go through is the same, no matter where you drill that hole. So believe it or not, in principle, you can go from any point to any other point within a matter of just a few hours. And basically, you fall. There's no energy required. You simply fall right into the Earth and then come out the other side. However, the technical problems are enormous. We would have to have gigantic drills that can drill right into the Earth and also drill not just at the surface of the Earth, but go right into the Earth itself, into the Earth's crust.
Please prepare for gravity reversal.
This is something that we cannot do at the present time because of geologic shifts, because of tectonic activity, because of heat. There's a nightmare of geological problems. But one day, we might be able to solve this problem by using drills. We're using nanotechnology that are super strong, able to go right through solid rock at a pretty good clip and be able to connect 2 points on the surface of the Earth going right through the planet Earth.
You know, I'm a Trekkie. And in Star Trek, they have something called the holodeck. You walk into a room, you see an entirely new surrounding in 3 dimensions, and you walk into this alien environment. You will do that with your contact lens. Your contact lens will give you a completely new environment. And if you're an architect, you will move things around. As you walk in the room, move things around and print it out with a 3D printer. So design will change as you work inside the holodeck. You go from room to room, floor to floor, all of it inside your contact lens and then punching it out. I think by mid-century, perhaps every single organ of the body can be grown except the brain. And even with the brain, perhaps we'll be able to inject brain tissue directly into the brain to help to alleviate the symptoms of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So the human body shop is coming sooner than you think.
In fact, this process has already started. At the Institute of Regenerative Medicine at Wake Forest University Baptist Medical Center, researchers were the first in the world to implant laboratory-grown organs into humans and are currently working to grow more than 22 different organs and tissues, including the bladder, lung, liver, heart, and pancreas.
This is going to change the way we view our body. Why do we have to die from organ failure? Why do we have to die after a car crash when our organs are injured? In the future, we'll be able to grow one in the laboratory.
Professor Michio Kaku is no stranger to making predictions. He's a world-renowned theoretical physicist and futurist who explores the science of yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Medicine has gone through three basic stages. In the first stage, we had superstition and magic. Life expectancy was only 20 to 30 years. Then 100 years ago, with sanitation, with vaccines and antibiotics, lifespan exploded to the mid-70s. Now we're entering the third stage, genomic medicine.
What that means is, in the future, we'll all have an owner's manual for our bodies.
When you go to the doctor's office, there'll be a little box on his desk called a genealyzer. You put some saliva, some blood into the box, and out spits out a CD-ROM with every single gene in your body. This CD-ROM, with all your 30,000 genes on it, will tell you what you should be doing in terms of health and preventive medicine. Watch out, maybe diabetes. Watch out, maybe high cholesterol and heart disease lurks in your family tree.
So what about one of the biggest killers of all, cancer? Professor Kaku says genomic medicine will also allow doctors to spot the disease long before it ever shows up in the body.
Cancer is no longer a mystery. We can't cure it yet, but you know that cancer is caused by genetic mutations, 4, 5, or more genetic mutations. In the future, we'll be able to spot this with sensors in our bathroom. When you go to the toilet, when you breathe on the mirror, you'll be able to analyze using what are called DNA chips, cells that have cancer genes in them. This means that the word tumor could disappear from the English language because we'll know perhaps 10 years ahead of time whether or not a cancer colony is growing in your body years before it becomes a tumor.
How about all that waiting around just to see your doctor?
In the future, you'll go to the wall screen and say, mirror, mirror on the wall, I want to talk to my doctor now. Immediately, a holographic image will emerge, and perhaps it'll be a software program that can answer 98% of all common problems.
By the year 2060, we will no longer be a slave to fashion. Instead, fashion will be a slave to us, with clothing acting as our first line of defense in an emergency situation.
Your clothes will monitor your heartbeat, recognize an emergency, upload your entire medical history onto the web, alert the ambulances, locate your body by GPS, and alert all the authorities about your situation even before they arrive.
But with all this technology comes controversy, like designer babies. Scientists have already figured out how to create designer animals that are smarter and stronger. But what does this mean for humans?
Some people fear that maybe we'll have the genetic rich and the genetic poor. The genetic rich will be beautiful, they'll be outgoing, they'll have perfect bodies and long lifespans, and then we'll have the genetic poor.
While Professor Kaku admits there are issues with this explosion of technology, including invasion of privacy, in the end, he says, advancements in medicine will make us better, make us healthier, and make us live longer.
So there are hazards that we have to negotiate, but I think the benefits far outweigh the negatives.
First of all, let me say that it's a great honor to be here at the Global Cafe. I'm actually here now in Istanbul, compliments of modern technology. And I should also point out after that great introduction that sometimes these honors can backfire. Recently, New York Magazine voted me as one of the 100 smartest people in New York. And I thought, wow, what a great honor. I'm a physicist. And you may ask yourself a question, what does a physicist do? How is it going to impact on our lives, physics? And what does it mean about tourism, about jobs, about medical care? Well, let me say this. First of all, we physicists, we invented the transistor. We invented the laser. We helped to construct the internet. We wrote the World Wide Web. And don't forget that we also invented television. We invented radio, radar, microwaves. In the hospital, we invented the X-ray machine. We invented the MRI scan, the PET scan. And don't forget, we physicists also created the space program. And we created the GPS system. And we physicists love to make predictions. Here's the question for today. What is the fourth wave? The first wave was steam power. The second wave was electricity. The third wave was high tech. What is the fourth wave? Well, that's what we physicists are doing. We physicists invent the future. We think the fourth wave is going to be molecular physics in the form of biotechnology, nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, held together by communications, computers, and lasers. So let's take a look now at Moore's law. This means that almost like a clock, we can gauge what kinds of technologies are available. Now look at this technology. Look at this curve very carefully. Look at 1969. In 1969, we put 2 men on the moon. However, if you look at these old NASA videotapes, they had 64K processors back then. You realize that your cell phone has more computer power than all of NASA in 1969 when we put 2 men on the moon. Now take a look at the year 2020. And then you realize that in 2020, 2025, computer chips will gradually go down to about a penny a piece. You now know the future of the computer. The future of the computer is to disappear. The internet will be everywhere and nowhere, scattered into the environment. So where will the internet be? Among other places, in our glasses. Now these glasses are more powerful than Google glasses. These glasses recognize people's faces. In the future, when you see somebody, you will see a biography next to their name. And if they speak to you in Chinese, you'll see subtitles translating Chinese into English. So this could be the future of your home office, the future of your home entertainment center. But there's a problem, a big problem. What happens if you don't like glasses? What happens if you don't wear glasses? Then what are you going to do? Then you will blink and you will go online. And who were the first people to buy internet contact lenses? College students taking final examinations. They will blink and they will see all the answers to the exams right there in their contact lens. Now when you want to buy something, you simply point and click. Point and click with your cell phone and everything's all taken care of. In fact, in the future, you'll simply blink, and you will buy whatever object you want to buy. One of the big winners is democracy. Because as the internet spreads, young people realize, hey, I don't have to live under this dictatorship. When I was growing up as a kid, a dictator for life meant something. Dictators were dictators for life because the Cold War froze politics for 50 years. Today, dictator for life means 6 months. 6 months and you are out of here. So the big winner is democracy. And democracies do not war with other democracies. Think of every war you had to memorize since you were in grade school. Every war. They've always been between dictators, kings, queens, emperors, never between 2 major democracies. And that's the good news. However, the bad news is it will be rocky. Because young people, even though they can go to the streets, topple governments, make things more democratic, they're not used to power. To consolidate that kind of power is very difficult. And young people are still struggling
struggling with how to channel all this young youth power into a practical agenda that can run a country, all the day-to-day affairs that you have to take care of to make a country function. That's why it's going to be rocky, but it will happen.
My name is Dr. Michio Kaku. I'm a professor of theoretical physics here at the City University of New York. I'm the co-founder of string field theory, one of the main branches of string theory. And professionally, I work on trying to unify all the laws of physics into a single equation, into a single framework, to complete Einstein's dream of a theory of everything. However, I'm also interested in the mind. I've been fascinated with the nature of consciousness, and that's why I decided to write the book, The Future of the Mind. I'm a physicist. We like to analyze things, take things apart, quantify them, measure things. The brain is the most complex object that we know of in the solar system, perhaps even in our sector of the Milky Way galaxy. One of the big breakthroughs in terms of understanding the universe was the telescope. With the invention of the telescope, we can now get rid of all the mythology and mysticism and see stars, galaxies, and we can see what's out there. With the mind, it was the MRI machine and all the avalanche of high-tech instruments that have allowed us to probe the nature of thought itself. In Los Angeles, scientists trained rats to perform a certain task. They tape recorded the impulses in the hippocampus of the mind, of their brain, and then replayed these thoughts back into their brain. And sure enough, they recall the task that they had learned. This is amazing. This is the first time in world history that scientists have been able to record a thought, a memory of something, play it back, and the mouse relearn the task. In the future, we will have the ability to have a motion picture of your thoughts, and in fact, a motion picture of your dreams. At the University of California at Berkeley, I went to the laboratory there, where they have an MRI machine that takes all your thoughts, breaks it up into 30,000 dots. Then there's a computer program that interprets these 30,000 dots and creates an image of what you're looking at. The image is rather crude, but the very fact that we can do it is incredible. Perhaps there are billions and billions of universes out there with different laws of physics, but ours is special because we are here to talk about it. In these other universes, there are no humans. There's no one there to talk about it. Our universe is special. We have life, we have consciousness, and that's why consciousness, in some sense, is the most precious commodity in the multiverse of universes.